congratulations for Pant Hoot, your short film.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not to mention, congratulations for winning the award at the Santa Barbara International Film Festival earlier this month with Pant Hoot. How does that feel?
Incredibly unexpected and so gratifying. It's just the success of the film has far exceeded any expectations I had. I've never been even close to this world, this film world, and to have my first foray into this be such a success, it's just been incredibly exciting. And to think that Stanny is becoming a rock star, as I call him, is even more gratifying.
That is most excellent. But what actually sparked the idea to make a short documentary, Pant Hoot, in the first place? And how did you meet Stanny?
All right, well, this question actually is a Barbara question. Barbara's the executive producer, I'm the director, and Barbara and I had been working together on her beautiful still photography. I used to do stills, and I do a lot of work in post-production on stills as well still, and I was helping Barbara with that, and we became friends, and she and her husband, Louis, and Barbara had been always talking about this incredible man she met when she first had her experience with chimpanzees 14 years ago. And
we met Stanny on our first trip to Africa, which was in 2005. It was a request that I made to our tour operator that I have as close contact as possible with one of the great apes, particularly chimpanzees. So she sent us to this sanctuary, which is an island in Lake Victoria, about 45 minutes from the mainland, Entebbe. And my husband and I went. We prepared in advance to go on a forest walk with 6 young chimpanzees. And we did that. Stanny he was at the time the head caregiver at this Ngamba sanctuary. And we went on this walk with these chimps and through the rainforest there on the island, sat down, and one of the young chimps, Yo-Yo, stayed in my lap and looked at me, those big brown eyes, and I thought, there's a real connection here. And she tied and untied my shoes. My husband was playing around with the young chimp males, throwing them at Stanny's direction, and they would run back to him. It was the most amazing wildlife experience I could have possibly imagined. It was at that point that I became really committed to saving the species. And Stanny, with his incredible, uncanny ability to communicate with them through their own language, which is pant hooting, also mesmerized me. And so to realize the trials that he's been through in his life, as well as being with these chimps, it's been an overwhelming experience. And then to work with Richard and the crew he assembled, making this film and spending time with Jane Goodall, it's really indescribable as far as words. There are no words that I have.
Wow. Richard, how long did this production actually take? How long did you follow Stanny for?
We were in South Africa filming Stanny for just 5 days. And then a month later, we met up with Jane Goodall and had a day with her. Actually an hour with her, which was more than enough time because she's a great interview. But, and you know, you ask her a question, you have 4 follow-ups, you can throw the follow-ups away she's already given you the answers to those in the first question, much like Barbara's doing right now. Actually, she's doing, Barbara doesn't do a lot of these, and I think she's.
This is a first.
This is her
A first film, a first interview at 76. Here I am.
That is so exciting. Yeah.
But the main thing is that with Barbara and Lewis as being executive producers and the initiators of this project, you couldn't ask for more of a dream as a director, meaning that, hey, we need this. Okay. It's just like, not why, or are you sure? It's just like, okay, whatever you think is best. And it's like, that gives you even more motivation to like make sure you're doing everything right and not overdoing anything, and not, you have to be careful with the budget no matter what, especially in a documentary. But no, everything we needed was there, and that was great. And then obviously the editing takes time, and the research that the editor did a ton of research, finding, the historical and archival footage and stuff, which is not an easy task, as we all know. And anyway, so that was that. And then, here we are a year later.
Yes.
Talking to you.
Wasn't that easy to gain access to Jane? Was she very eager to talk to you for an hour?
Yes, actually, I finished in 38 minutes, and I said, okay, we're done, because out of respect, I was really organized. I'm a commercial director, so I usually have every frame, every second of every frame of every second planned out and boarded. So I didn't want to take a break. She goes, no. And she said, no, I'm going to give you guys ape hugs and chimpanzee kisses. And
Yeah.
I mean, she just did selfies with, shit, signed
She said, don't y'all want pictures with me?
Yeah, no.
She
so
offered it. Wow. Very accessible.
Yeah. And I think that the Jane Goodall Institute Canada, which is where we interviewed her, helped quite a bit in securing her and making it possible. And, when we first met Jane, well, you had met her years before. I met her in the elevator because we're all staying in the same hotel. So I was like, oh, I'm going to interview you later tomorrow, I think. It was like, it was a trip. But yeah, she's like, very, very kind and wonderful. And, she's everything you would imagine.
Yeah, she's very soft-spoken. That was surprising to me when I first met her, how soft-spoken. She's very passionate, and the passion comes across, but not the intensity like you might expect someone who feels so strongly about a cause. She's very gracious and very thoughtful.
And she's got to be very tired. She travels 300 days a year. Last Saturday was her, April 3rd, 2 Saturdays ago, was her 87th birthday.
Wow.
So not fortunately, but because of the pandemic, I'm hoping that she's staying home more. And so she's probably, forced rest. And now she's just as busy on virtual meetings and speeches and conferences now. She's got a new one just about 3 times a week now. So
great. Well, since this is technically a story about Stanley himself, do you still keep in contact with him? How is he doing? Because obviously there were good news at the end of your short documentary.
I speak to Stanley 2 or 3 times a week, every week, just via WhatsApp. The time difference is rough, but usually when I'm able to talk to him, it's the end of his day and we catch up, and he's always excited to hear about how the movie's doing in the festivals and whatnot. Right now, we're a little concerned for Stanley because, he lives in Uganda. His home is in Uganda, his family's there, but Chimpeden is in South Africa, and that requires government work papers, and he hasn't received those yet. So he may be going home and being unemployed in Uganda after the end of this month. And
yes, he's already he's got his ticket, and he is leaving
to go home,
South Africa on the 29th of April to go back to Uganda, and he has to stay in Uganda for a period of time, whatever that the government regulation is, that he be out of South Africa. It's unknown whether they will let him back as a temporary worker there, since he's already worked there for 3 years. He had a 2-year contract, but prior to that, he had another short. So nobody knows chimps like Stanley, nobody in the world, except maybe Jane Goodall. And he has so much value to other countries, but because of the travel and work restrictions throughout Africa, as they are here. He applied for a job at a new sanctuary in Georgia several years ago, and they refused to even interview him because he isn't a US citizen. So that's a real problem. We're trying to do as much as we can to publicize him and his tremendous talents at communication. I still can't believe, when I close my eyes and I hear the chimps and Stanley pant hooting, I can't tell who is who. He is so good at the nuances of producing those sounds.
No
It's
accent.
amazing.
No
Right.
accent.
No accent. Terrific, terrific. Richard, Barbara, when audiences get to have a chance to watch your short documentary, Pant Hoot, what is the one most important takeaway that you hope that they would walk away after watching your film?
I would say chimpanzees are so important to the world. Do what you can to protect their habitat and the chimps themselves.
And I would like to add to that, we are in the midst of the 6th great extinction, which is something that Jane Goodall says in the movie. Greta Thunberg says constantly on social media, and it's real. Turn of the century, there were 1 million chimpanzees before the turn of the chimpanzees in the wild. Now there are fewer than 80,000. That is a greater than 90% reduction in one life form that's the closest to our own possible. And that's just in 21 years. What's going to happen in the next 20 years? I mean, or the next 5 years? It's horrific. We need to do more. And as Stanley says in the film, it's not just about the chimps. It's also about how we treat our fellow humans in different countries, and, you know, our brothers and sisters in Africa or in South America or Asia, where there are apes and gibbons and what. And it's, you know, we're not the only ones on the planet, yet we treat it like it's our own personal rec room, and we've got to stop.
And when you start talking about climate change, and it becomes this such a large topic, it's hard to pull the heartstrings. But I think in this film, as Richard zoomed in on these individual chimps, and you look at them and you see their name and you see their things that they focus on and react to, it becomes more personal than just the green focus. And that's important. That's the whole thing. But to have it brought so close to you when you look in those eyes, I think it is a difference, and hopefully will make a difference.
Excellent. And before I let you go, did either of you two try to pant hoot with any of the animals?
Yes.
Not with the animals. I did it once and they laughed at me and said, no, you can't do that. Don't do that again. So no, I didn't try, but Barbara probably has. I'm too shy.
It's so, it's that pant hooting is so disarming. Jane Goodall begins every speech she makes with pant hooting. And the first time I saw her do that was at Ngamba Island Chimpanzee Sanctuary. And she got off the boat, the little speed boat that brought her to the island. She got on the dock, and all of it, she stopped at the end, and all of a sudden she started pant hooting. and my mouth dropped. I thought, this is this icon. And she is talking like a chimp, but that's who she is. And that's how she gets attention. So hopefully every time somebody hears that sound, they will think of Jane Goodall and little Samba and little Timbo and all the different chimps that they will meet in this film.
And she doesn't have an accent either, even though she's from England. Her Pant Hoot is accentless.
Yes, right.
Well, congratulations, Richard, Barbara, once again for the short documentary Pant Hoot, and hopefully we get to see you folks again on another documentary or film.
Thank you
and thanks
for
so
giving
much.
us the chance.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. Next time.
Okay.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.